I like to call these reads quick faith restorative reads for all the 12 signs. Let's see what's in store for Taurus today and for this week or month. During these current astrological energies, we have the new moon going into Scorpio tomorrow. For Taurus, that's in the 7th house, so that might be a few relationship shake-up situations. What else? We have the new moon we have Jupiter going into Sagittarius on Friday, which will be interesting. That brings everybody a lot of good luck. It's a benefic planet, so let's have a look and see what the cards want to say to Taurus. Plus, we do have some construction noise across the way, so I just try not to let all these little things stop me. So I keep going. So, okay, for Taurus, let's have a look and see what the message is during this current astrological period of November the 6th for the week. Actually, we're doing really November during this astrological transiting period. We get the moon. I guess that wants to come out. And what else do we get here? All right, let's go ahead and make that into the read. And then let's see what else comes out for Taurans. We've got the 10 of Pentacles. We've got the 5 of Swords here. We've got the moon. We've got the Devil. We've got the Temperance. We've got the Queen of Cups. We've got the Page of Pentacles. Alrighty, let's have a look. It looks to me like Taurans are changing something in the way that they. Let's have a look. There is a form of a victory that's coming in for Taurans. There is a change. There is a knowledge of a fear that. I mean, I get the Devil card there, really telling me that this is a period of transmutation of some deep issues involving ego, fears of attachment. But you know what? This is the Tauran coming into knowledge of what that fear is, because it's landing. The moon is landing on the consciousness section of my read, which really indicates to me that the Tauran has now realized or has become knowledgeable of a deep depression or a deep sadness or something that isn't working for them, and it's because they're turning away from something in their heart. And you know what, Taurans are very abundant. They're very stable. They usually make sure that their finances are pretty stable. So although the financial situation in the life of a Tauran right now looks pretty stable and strong, they have turned away from something deep in their heart that's going to be a creative thing. But also, I'm going to say, because this card comes here, it's in a relationship form too. In other words, the Taurus have been turning away from a truth in their heart in order to be victorious in a relationship situation. And the Taurans are becoming aware of the fear that causes them to sort of compromise too much of who they really are in relationships, because they're turning away from because this is the heart space of my read. So we have the even though Tauran is Pentacles, this is a woman in her heart. The Queen of Cups is a woman of heart, and I have it in the heart space turned away. So that tells me that Taurans are becoming aware of their propensity to turn away from their truth in relationships, and so that causes situations that they have to pull out of. And this is an ego issue. It's an ego attachment, because the Devil card means addictions or egos, and this is the divine section of the read, letting me know that there is a recognition or a knowledge of the fear of the pain element, because the Devil is also pain and fear. It's addiction. It's what we do to run away from the pain, and what we do to not feel. And the moon is the opposite of that. We feel. The moon is the feminine. She feels. It's our depression. It's what's hidden. It's underneath. So we get a moon, we get a consciousness, awareness of knowledge, of knowing of the ego or because of this read will show you that it is the ego that turns the Tauran away from their truth in order to compromise a relationship, because the patience or the ego motive for tolerating and being patient isn't winning for in other words, the Tauran needs to win in that, and that the only reason they're tolerating and it's not the word tolerating really the word I want to use, but no longer operating in a way in relationships that requires having patience, because it is a fear of attachment to that relationship that causes the Tauran to turn away and to self-sacrifice, and it's attachment. Taurans have a tremendous, the earth sign, they hold on, it holds things. So there tends to be an attachment to relationships to the point of self-alienation or self-abandonment. That's probably the best way to put it. Now this is a lesson that the Tauran, again, we get the victory card again twice in a row. So what that tells me is that the Taurans are, now here's the reignition card in this. So this is going to reignite a creative endeavor for the Tauran, because, and we get the outcome of the Nine of Wands, and we get the Page of Pentacles, which is communication, so tying all this together tells me that the Taurans are becoming aware, even though their focus is on security, because we get the Ten of Pentacles, even though the Taurans are very focused on financial securities, and they're very successful at that, usually grounding that down, creating security in their life, that is very stable, and the cards are agreeing with that for most Taurans. However, there is a fear awareness coming into a knowledge of a deeper subconscious wounding issue for turning away from the truth of who the Tauran is in order to hold on to relationships or ideas or situations just for the sake of it, in a way. Because the devil wants you to hold on to things. It wants you to attach to things. It wants you to win. It wants you to be right. And oftentimes I think the Tauran will self-sacrifice in order to hold on to things and sort of create a time frame within which the experience gives them pleasure, if that makes any sense. So I just read the cards, and sometimes the sentence doesn't quite make sense, but there's an attachment to an idea that these relationships bring the Tauran, and so the Tauran waits for that idea, and it doesn't, and it creates a problem in the waiting, because it doesn't fruition, because the Tauran needs to learn that they're turning away from themselves in order to hold on. They're turning away from a truth in order to sort of, they're lacking their integrity in order to, not lacking integrity, but holding on to a relationship despite something that is integrally true. Integrally true for the Tauran. This is kind of a tricky read. But the Page of Pentacles tells me at the end that this understanding of the fear that binds them, because the moon is a deep subconscious depression, and then the devil is a binding situation. Understanding that is an ego attached based fear brings a new fresh beginning in the relationship. It's an awareness that the Tauran needs to not just be a passive bystander in these relationships that they turn away from, and being a passive bystander in these relationships is no longer something the Tauran is willing to, or actually, I take that back. It's the cards are saying not to do. In other words, be proactive in clearing these fears, turn towards yourself, be more into your own heart space, know yourself. Turning more into yourself is going to turn you into the best relationship. You don't have to hold on to the relationships. They hold, because of the true nature of the relationship is hold. It's destined. It will hold. And if it is the destined relationship, it will. But that the joy and the happiness, because the the Nine of Cups is where the happiness is. That's the outcome of the read and a new creative pursuit, is the victorious result of this new transmutation, of the new recognition of the deep depression that causes the Taurans to operate in a holding, or to hold on to relationships that cause them to need too much patience, which doesn't bring them joy. In other words, it's an undercurrent effect. It causes an undercurrent in their life that affects them, and the Taurans keep turning away, being patient about it. And in order to shift that, they have to have a recognition of the ego-based fear attached, that by turning away from them is how they're trying to hold on to the relationship, is a belief in the power of ego holding relationships, or fears holding relationships, when really we just show up and be honest in our relationship, and the true relationship stays, and the ones that don't leave. Oh, I hope that was clear. Okay, I'm pulling an animal spirit message guide, and I would pull the box out to show it to you, but it's holding the stand that's holding the camera. I didn't think about that when I used it. But anyway, oh, actually I have the book. What am I thinking? I have the book. Here we go. Messages from your animal spirit guide, from Stephen D. Farmer. And this is going to be a card that kind of ties the message together. So let's have a look. It's the chimpanzee. Use both your intuition and your intellect to solve the problem or get answers to your questions. Use both your intuition and your intellect. I think what that's saying is align. So intuition is heart, intellect is heart, intellect is head. So it does seem to me that the Taurans are making a head-heart alignment awareness of the reason that they turn away from a relationship, why they turn away from themselves in relationships, in order to sort of self-sacrifice to hold the relationship. So thank you, Taurans. Hopefully that helps you, and it is an upgrade in your energetics, because you will release this binding fear that has held you to stay in relationships or behaving in patterns that aren't for your highest good, or the highest good of all, because it's a self-sacrificing experience. So hopefully this resonates with you, and thank you so much.